I pushed the go live button before I took my bite of breakfast. Good morning. How you guys doing? Howdy, morning, whatever you want to say. I love saying morning. It reminds me of better days, younger days, not better days. Well, day 13, I think, of 26 days of you. What we're going to talk about today, if I can stay focused for you, because there's a lot of things going on again, is lead by example, which is an easy one, right? We're talking about making ourselves better and changing our own lives. I'm going to share with you what I've learned over the many years that I've been teaching about what motivates people to actually move to action. Now, this isn't the end all be all cure for everything, but it helps. Okay, so that's one of the things we're going to talk about. Number two, we're going to talk about fear and how, while I'm not afraid of anything, some of you are like that, right? We don't have no fear. I discovered I had a fear. And we're going to talk about that a little bit too, and how it created a situation where I was self-sabotaging my success. And it's not complete. I realized it really recently, and we're moving forward with it. And then number three, I want to introduce you to quantum jumping. Quantum jumping is actually an idea that Napoleon Hill first came up with, and in not so many words. And then what was his name? I'm so terrible with names. Let's see if I can remember. It's not Bob Proctor. Burt Goldman. Burt Goldman took it and ran with it, and has done some crazy things with some amazing things with it. But we'll talk about that in a minute too. So first things first. What you dream about? As the weather changes, are your dreams changing? I can tell you that the duration of my dreams have changed. And it's kind of an interesting thought process that not normally, every once in a while, I'll dream in spurts of, well, situations or stories or whatever it is. You wake up, you go back to sleep, wake up, go back to sleep. There's different dreams. And then every once in a while, the same dream just continues no matter how many times I wake up, like last night and the night before. Sometimes I wake up about every hour. No matter how many times I wake up, that same dream picks up right where it left off and continues to move through. And I'm intrigued by the thought that maybe it's just one dream. Well, no, because I remember it every time I wake up. So it's kind of an interesting thought. I'm interested if that happens to you too. Your gratitude statement for the day, don't forget it. And don't just say it. Remember that. Don't just say it. Actually feel it. What are you grateful for? When you put it out in the universe that you're reaching for abundance and you're growing and you're looking for, for new experiences or abundance, and most of us are looking for that fulfillment, that abundance. We need, I don't know if we need, it's always good to top that feeling with gratitude. And waking up and opening your eyes after your meditation or whatever it is, and being grateful for the moment, or grateful for the people in your life, or grateful for the situations that you created, or grateful for the talents that you have. Those are all wonderful things to put on top of our new goals that we're seeking, right? So it was a beautiful morning. I didn't think I was going to be up this early. On Tuesdays, I can sleep in if I want to, and I did. I stayed in bed almost till 6:15. Jumped out here. I wasn't sure I was going to get on the time, but it's pretty nice. A little chilly, a little dewy. But I love mornings like this. I love the change of the weather, and not a change of the seasons. Excuse me, a better way to put it. And as fall approaches, you can start to feel it. It's really cool. All right. So being a leader, lead by example. We all do this at times, whether on purpose or not. As my coach, probably yelling at me for the 218. Morning, Ben, if you're out there watching. We all lead by example, whether by design or accident. Let me explain that. People look to you whether you're the designated leader or not. Whether it's your children, the neighbors, the people you interact with on a regular basis, even if they're not paying attention, your actions can definitely affect them. Now, are you a jerk? Are you miserable? Are you mopey? Are you walking around with self-pity all the time? You're leading those people that are looking for that into their dismay. I'm not blaming you. But I'm saying it happens. And I'll tell you how in a second. Are you positive? Remember the be positive challenge? Are you walking around and you're positive? How you doing? I'm doing great. How about you? Are you doing good? Smiling at people, helping people out. And I know it doesn't work all the time. You hold the door for somebody and they get mad at you, which is ridiculous, but you are who you are and you can affect those people positively. So you're a leader in that way. Now, why would anybody look for people to follow that are being miserable? Well, let me explain this to you. What you look for, you're going to find. Seek and ye shall find, right? How does that work? Well, it's real simple. And a good exercise is this. Close your eyes and keep them closed for a minute. And when you open your eyes, don't do it yet, but when you open your eyes, I want you to see the color red. Don't open your eyes. Look for the color red in a minute, though. When I say open your eyes, you're going to see red everywhere you look. Keep your eyes closed right now, but when I say open your eyes, you're going to look for the color red. Look for the color red. Go and open your eyes. Look for red. Where do you see it? You see red all over the place? Look for red, look for red, look for red. It's everywhere. Now close your eyes again. This time when you open your eyes, I want you to look for brown. That's right, brown. So you're going to look for, not yet, keep your eyes closed. You're going to open your eyes in a minute. You're going to look for brown. You're going to see brown everywhere you look. Okay, go ahead and open your eyes. Look for brown, look for brown, look for brown. You probably were capable of seeing red and seeing brown with no problems, right? When you look for it, you're going to find it. You're going to find it. And it was funny when I watched Tony do that demonstration. He said, in order to be successful, we often see things that are not there. How many of you looked and saw maroon and called it red, or saw a burnt orange and called it brown, right? Um, because we're looking for success. We want to achieve success. Well, this is true in all areas of our life. So if people are looking to be miserable, and I know it sounds funny, huh? But if they're looking for that significance in being unhappy, and you are unhappy and miserable, whew, the connection is made, and they're going to use that to anchor and feel normal. They're looking to connect. Okay, not all the time, but it happens even subconsciously. So you're a leader, whether you want to be or not. Now, can you turn that around? Absolutely. We talked about this. You can be positive. You can do all the wonderful things and be a great leader that way. And the best way to do it, of course, is to raise your standards. Now we're getting to my fear here. And when you raise your standards, you create a better you. When you're not willing to accept for mediocrity, or you're not willing to accept for where you're at, and you finally get fed up, that's generally the best launching pad to make a change. Now, when you launch a rocket, you don't want to just fire it off anywhere, right? You got to have a destination where you're going to move nowhere really fast. Make sense? So make sure you have a goal when you're looking to raise your standards. Don't just say, okay, I want something better. You got to be specific. We talked about that. Now, are you a leader when that happens? Yeah. Yeah. People around you, just by design, if you raise your standards and you hold yourself to a higher set of standards, a higher moral or ethical or financial or spiritual area, people around you will inevitably grow or leave. They won't be around you anymore, or they will. Is that okay? Yeah, it's absolutely okay. Um, what motivates us to push towards those standards and stay focused on what it is we're trying to achieve? Well, I'll tell you this, and I've told you this before. In order to raise your standards, one of the things you can do is get around people who challenge you, right? You want to get better at playing tennis, you don't play people that you can beat in tennis all day long. It's not going to make you better. You're going to actually probably lower your standards because you don't have to push to beat them anymore, right? So you want to get around people that are better than you, that will raise you and elevate you. So you surround yourself with excellence. You surround yourself with people that are going to lift you up. Well, how do you find those people? Look for them. Seek and you shall find, right? If you can't personally touch them, and I'm telling you, getting around them personally and being with somebody and feeling and interacting, that's always the best way. but we don't always have that option. If you like a person from the past and maybe their characteristics or something they've accomplished or the way they thought about a certain thing, you can read about that, right? There are documentaries. There's a ton of ways to connect to that person. Put that in front of you. Okay, reach for it. The books that you read today will be the decisions and the way you feel tomorrow, right? So always put good in, get good out. You remember that. So you get around people that elevate you and raise your standards. If you can't get around them personally, you don't have a coach or you don't have a mentor, seek them out elsewhere. Read about them, watch them on TV, whatever you got to do. Okay, those are best ways to do it. I have an interesting conundrum there. I have in my life picked mentors that had skill sets that I wanted, and they were great. I always, to my best of ability, sought the best people out to learn from. I didn't just settle for whatever. I really went and discovered who in my area and even in my outside my immediate area were the best, and hoped that they would allow me the opportunity to train with them, learn from them, speak to them, whatever it is. I wanted that information, that skill set. Well, throughout my life, when you reach for excellence, you're going to get it. And I'm not bragging, and I'm not saying I'm the greatest, but I will tell you this. I've had to raise my standards in my chosen field of what I'm doing right now. And every time I did, I surpassed my goals. If I said I want to be like that gentleman or that lady and think that way, feel that way, move that way, teach that way, whatever it was, and I achieved it, I needed to raise my standards and move forward. Now, it had nothing to do with being better than them. That wasn't it. It just, those people at that moment in their life had stopped growing and they were fine with it. There's no judgment, but I needed more and I would go on. So there are times when you do raise your standards and you surpass the first 2, 3, 4, 8, 10, 12 role models or limitation or standards that you set. Does that make sense? When you do that, you start to learn a lot about the people who are thinking and feeling the same way. Well, for me, and this is just a quick side note, my chosen field of profession has not the people, well, can't say that. Things have changed. And it's probably because I'm older and I have not stopped learning. A lot of people choose to stop learning. That's their choice. This is not a judgment call. If you choose to continue to raise your standards and continue to learn, there's going to be a day when you look back or over at the others who are now pointing their finger and judging you for surpassing them. It happens all the time. And every time it happens, it's hard to realize, it's hard to understand why it's happening. I sort of been listening from the start, still trying to wake up a bit. Good morning, Motley. Drink some water. Get your water in right now. Drink a cup of water and get it down. Well, that'll help you. Hang on, I'm gonna take a drink too. Underdog, right? Take your vitamins. So as we surpass these people and they start to point judgment, that's when you really realize that, okay, you've moved on, right? My current conundrum is as I look around at what I used to think were the people I wanted to be like, 98% of them are people I don't want to be like. Now, it's not that they've changed, it's the fact that they haven't changed. And this is no judgment, okay? Please, we don't judge people. It's me and my raising of standards that makes me feel this way. So the people that I modeled after still are wonderful, great people and still have the same skill set, if even not maybe a little bit better than before. and still incredible people, or I wouldn't have sought to do that. But all of a sudden, as you move on and around and reach for greater heights, and they don't want to grow, those wonderful people look at you differently. And the fear of being judged by what used to be your mentors in a not so favorable way will sometimes hold you back from growing, from pushing forward. With me, it's always temporary because I'm capable of putting those people in those situations on a shelf where they belong. And what I mean by that is when you read a book that has wonderful information in it, you don't need to carry the book around to remember the information. You put it on your shelf in your library. You know where you can access it if you need it. You don't hate it. You don't dislike it. It's just that's where it belongs now as you move forward. Same thing with people. As you raise your standards, sometimes you have to put people on a shelf because they're going to judge you for surpassing them. Not always. There are a few people out there, and I hope there's more people like me. And I'm not saying that I'm great, but I have an attitude that I wish would share. And the attitude is this: whoever I teach, whatever I share, I hope that those students, especially my martial arts students, anybody, I hope that my students, people that learn from me, will someday stand on my shoulders and take the information I've shared with you to new heights that I can't even imagine right now. I want you to surpass me so bad. I want you to take what I have, use what's useful, discard the things that don't fit you, and move to areas of our fields of study that will just blow people's mind. I would be so proud of that. I can't imagine myself ever judging my students for wanting to grow and change. But it's happened to me. And I'm okay with it. I really why? Because I focus on myself, not on others in this situation. I hope you do the same. I hope that helped. I just wanted to share that with you a little bit. Now, I'm going to fit all this together. You know me, stay with me. My head's already 6 months ahead of this conversation. So, on the subject of not focusing on other people and focusing on yourself, when we motivate to change and we raise our standards, I would guess that 60% of all people who start this fail to continue for one reason. And remember, the 60% I just said, about 80% of all statistics are made up on the spot. Okay, so the number one reason those people fail to continue is they're doing it for themselves. I'm raising my standards and I'm looking for fulfillment for me. Over the years of teaching, and I'm going to use self-defense, this is a truth. This is a law. This is just how it is. And if people tell you, no, that's not how I think, there's about 60% of that's BS, okay? Because it's the truth. And listen to it and you'll understand it. When I teach people to fight, fighting and self-defense are different. When I teach people to protect themselves, defend themselves, and physically be able to crush or destroy a situation or another human being who's trying to crush or destroy them, and they succeed in learning that, to use it on another human being in my school or my world is not what we're after. We don't train to hurt people. We don't. We're not that kind of people. We're not that school. We're not that damn sport. We're not. We don't train to do that. Can we do it? Yes. Do we want to do it? No. So when I ask them, would you be able to bust somebody's knee? Physically, they can do it. They know how to do it. Yes. I'm talking about in here and up here. The first answer is, yeah, depending on the situation. So that's not a yes, that's a maybe. Would you be able to protect yourself if somebody was trying to punch you? Yes, you can block. Would you be able to smack them back, bust their eye, knock them out, maybe worse, break their ribs, whatever I've taught you to do it? Could you do it? The real answer becomes, yeah, if, or well, it depends on the situation. if I change the scenario and say, would you be able to break somebody's knee or ribs if it would stop them from hurting your child? Could you? And bam, yes. No maybe, no what if. If somebody's hurting somebody you love, if somebody attacked your child and was hurting your child, would you think about giving them the opportunity to stop? Oh, excuse me, can you please stop? Or would you make them stop? You understand what I'm saying? We have a tendency to do important things like that for others first. I'm not sure why it is. I can speculate across the board why we don't put ourselves first. We were taught that that was selfish. We were taught that that's just not the way things are, or people look down on you for being that greedy or that selfish. I'm speculating here, but it is a truth. Even with me, I can take a punch. I can take insults. It depends. You'd consider the source and blow it off, because I know once I pull the trigger, they're going to get hurt, and I don't want to hurt people. Touch my wife or my kids or somebody I love, and no warnings. I bet you're the same way, aren't you? So when you raise your standards or you set a goal, I'm going to lose weight. Why? Because I want to feel better. I want to look better. I want to do. Those are for you. And I bet somewhere deep in there is the if the situation's right. Well, let me put that in a sentence for you. I want to lose weight if the situation's right. Well, what does that mean? Well, if I can eat my favorite foods, if I don't have to cut this out, if I don't have to work out every day, um, you follow me? So find somebody else to do it for this week. Raise your standards for others. This is what I have chosen to do, because I found I was sabotaging my success. I have raised my standards. I have set a course of action and over the last few months, I've been doing really well, transforming my diet, my mind, and my business, my life, my relationships. Everything was moving good. And then all of a sudden, there are these roadblocks. And boy, when I stumble hard. And I did. And I had to sit down and go, what the heck is happening? Well, I'll tell you what was happening. I was afraid. It took me a long time to come up with this. Why? Because I'm not afraid of anything. Not. So I had to reframe the word afraid, or the phrase afraid, right? What am I afraid of? I had set in my mind a paradigm, a belief of what I am going to need to look like, feel like, and act like as a successful version, a different successful version of what I am right now. Let me explain that. I have certain things in my life right now that I am very fond of. My time with my wife, my time with my students, how I live my life, the way I dress. I don't have to get up every day and put on a suit and tie. If I can, if I want, I got them in my closet. You definitely do that. No judgment for those people that do. Some people have to do that. Some people choose to do that. I'm comfortable like this as an old little cowboy guy. So I'm good, right? Well, in my head, I had convinced myself that if I become successful at what I'm working on right now, I might have to change. I may have to spend more time in the public and do great things for the community, and I will, but on my terms. But my paradigm and my fear was that my current situation that I'm comfortable with, my thermostat, is going to have to change. And I was afraid to let that happen. It was. And I sabotaged the hell out of myself the last few weeks. And when I saw that the other day, I was talking to one of my students, Mr. Voikel, I had come up with this whole thought process before he walked in. And he walked in, sit down. He's like, and he had the same things going on in his head. I knew I was on the right track. So I changed my paradigm. I'm raising my standards. Why? The people around me will also rise up. As a mentor, I am not pushing or pulling my people to better themselves anymore. They're the best at what they do, and they're comfortable there. Mr. Motley, I bet you feel the same way, don't you? You're really good. Your students come to you to learn. People come to you to grow. Other people, they're watching. And you're comfortable where you're at because why? You're the teacher, you're at the top of what they do, of what they want to do. Who's pushing you to be better? Well, I've decided to push myself for you. And in order to do that, you've got to remember not to expect people to change. You allow them to grow. And that's me right now. And I love that idea, and I wanted to share it with you. Okay, so we're moving on. We're getting pretty late into the program, but I do want to share this really quick with you. Napoleon Hill wrote his book on Think and Grow Rich, and it's been around forever. And it's a pretty influential book. And from that book, he talked about ways to meditate and tap into the minds of the greats. He would say if you wanted to talk to Abraham Lincoln, you could go in your head and meditate, and not in these direct terms, okay, but you could do that. You could access their thinking process. And again, if you read about them and you lock yourself in and you model them, their breathing patterns, their thought patterns, their sleep patterns, their diet, if you get in touch with their environment and you understand what they were thinking, you can do that. I do that with Ed Parker all the time. Through Kempo. Ed Parker is the father of American Kempo. He helped to develop a system that we perpetuate and grow. And that's what people don't want to happen. They don't want it to grow. They want to keep, this is what it is. And they're trying to put it in a box. He wanted it to grow. He was like me. I am like him. And I'm claiming that. And you can do with it what you want to do. Mr. Tatum and everybody else has done some wonderful things with it. And people don't like it when they change things. Leave them alone. Good morning, Miss Phelps. So what you do is you lock yourself into that and you put yourself in their place, and you can make decisions based on how they felt or thought at the time. You really can. This is happening. So I came across this gentleman, and I said his name earlier. It's not Bob Proctor. I keep on saying it's Bert Goldman. And you can look him up. Quantum jumping is, and since he started this, and I think it was back in 2009, somewhere around there, and he didn't create it or invent it. He just kind of took it to this level. There might be others that I don't know about, but he's the one I came across. Quantum jumping, and what I was going to tell you is since he did this, there have been scientists and scientific proof that the possibility of this exists. So what I'm about to tell you sounds out there. Well, I shouldn't say that. Let me reframe that. What I'm about to tell you is the absolute scientific, positively true. Okay, this is the way it happens. And they're placebo. Now it's going to work, right? So quantum jumping states this, if I can remember correctly. All of our lives, we have had an imaginative state of being, goals, and wants. Remember when you were a little kid, all the wonderful things that you were dreaming about and wanted to do? I remember I wanted to be an archaeologist. I wanted to be a race car driver. I wanted to be a cowboy. I wanted to do all these things I wanted to do. Well, I wanted to be a rock star. What happened to me was the same thing I'm sure happens to everybody else. You can't be a rock star, except I didn't let that hold me down. I went, watch me. Okay. Or maybe you can't. And I went forward. I didn't do it despite what they said. I did it because that's what I wanted to do. You can't be a cowboy. Oh, yes, I can. But it wasn't spiteful. All right. Some people let those dreams go, though. Well, quantum jumping states that in alternate universes, and Albert Einstein agreed with the idea that, and actually brought forth some theories on the alternate universe idea, right? The multiple universes. What quantum jumping states is that in another universe, another version of you went ahead and followed that dream. Stay with me here, okay? And there's not just 1, 10, 12 universes. There are thousands. So there are thousands of possibilities that are in existence right now, different versions of yourself that are out there doing all of these things that you've ever wanted and never thought about doing. What if you could tap into those and ask yourself questions or bring back the talents from that universe? This is a true thing, okay? Trust me. Imagine a form of meditation where you could get yourself so deeply embedded into your thought process, your mind, your vibration, your harmonious vibration with the universe, that you could cross the bridge into another universe of a version of you that was completely satisfied and fulfilled in every area of life, or even one area of life that you're trying to change right now, rather than looking for other people to model yourself after. You could go inside and find the version of you that allows you to see clearly what it's going to look like when you achieve that. This is me achieving what I'm after. This is me after I've achieved it and what I'm going to look like. And it's awesome. And I'm going to bring that back, that feeling, that visualization into this universe. Or better yet, I'm just going to exist in that universe now and move forward from there. This is a real thing, okay? Quantum jumping is, look it up. You probably learn a lot more than I'm telling you right now. But it's kind of a cool thought, right? This guy, Bert, just said he taught himself to paint at the age of 70 or 60. I can't remember. And his paintings are in art galleries being sold. He taught himself to play, I think, the violin through this. He created a whole new different way of photography. I can't remember what but he pioneered a new form of photography doing this. And it's very interesting. I bet there are times in your life where you've gathered information, you're not sure where you got it from, but it was real and it was helpful. Or you've decided you're going to do this, and through your own course of action, you made it happen. Well, what if this is part of the explanation of how that works? When you set your mind to something and you focus on it and it becomes real and the vibrations line up, who's to say that we're not tapping into that alternate universe? I'm not saying, this is let's do this. I like thoughts like this. It doesn't mean they become my mantra or my religion, but I love to look at different ideas like this of how the mind works and how our consciousness, because there's no deeper exploration than how our consciousness works right now. And I will stick my toes in it in the water every once in a while, but it takes a lot to, I just accept it and have fun with it. So anyway, quantum jumping, I wanted to share that with you. All right, so I'm going to jump off here. I love you. I think it's day 13 to 26 days of you are moving forward. Let me know if you guys like this everyday thing, or if I'm getting sick. If you're getting sick of seeing me every day, because I can change it to twice a week or something. But so far, I'm having fun on a daily basis, and I hope you are too. I just noticed that our viewers are fading off, and I just wonder if it's something you don't want to see all the time. Let's review today real quick. Lead by example. Raise your standards. You can raise them to help other people, but don't expect other people to change. Allow them to grow. As you raise your standards, remember that sometimes the people you're modeling yourself after, you chose them for a reason. Love them for that, and allow them to change or not change. And when you surpass them, don't look back with judgment as they look forward to you with judgment, okay? Because it's going to happen. As you grow and change and move on, people in your life will want to hold you back. And it's not a mean thing, but it will happen. And not only do they want to hold you back so they don't lose you or whatever the reason is, they don't want to know that what they know is not everything. When they learn something and you take it to the next level, they're going to nix it unless they're open-minded. And God bless, I hope they're open-minded. But most of the people I've encountered in my livelihood don't seem to be that open-minded anymore. And I think it's just because I've grown past the idea of open-mindedness to the point to where I am now pushing their boundaries, which is what you need. So anyway, I love you. Check out quantum jumping. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll talk about something interesting, and I've got some other things that we can do. You can't have my breakfast yet. No. I've spoiled them. I love you guys. Have a great day. Contact me. Let me know what's going on. Mr. Molly, thank you. Byron Huntley, keep up the good work. We listen in every morning. Love it. And you. Thank you so much. I love you too, Mike. I really do. Miss Phelps, good morning. Mr. Motley, it's always good to see you on here. And hey, Mr. Huntley, I haven't checked in a while, but I love your pictures. And I envision you doing something wonderful with those, whether you're making coffee table books or selling your prints somewhere. You've got a great eye. You've really got a great eye, and keep it up. All right, guys, I'm going to take off. Sarah, I know you're not awake yet, but if you are, you know I love you, and I'll see you in a minute. I get to go work out now. No self-sabotage.